Spoilers alert, a New York appeals court just this morning has thrown out President Donald Trump's massive civil fraud penalty. The decision from a five-panel group in New York's appellate division changed the original decision that stood to cost Trump over $500 million. One appeals judge calling the lower court's penalty an excessive fine that violates the Eighth Amendment of the United States Constitution.
Well, what do you know? The Letitia James case against President Trump has just officially gone down in flames. And that same Letitia James, who smiled from ear to ear, making Trump's life a living hell in a New York court, has been totally and completely defeated. She has lost. And now she is the one under investigation. Butter the popcorn and sit back for one of the most extraordinary moments of poetic justice you could ever dream of witnessing. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor. We got some breaking news here. Let's start our victory celebration here by taking a little stroll through memory lane, shall we? Here is the ultra-repulsive Attorney General, Letitia James, New York Attorney General, just a few short years ago, promising the clapping seals in her audience that she was going to take Trump down.
And that is why I will be honored when I walk into that courtroom on October 2nd. Well, my role is civil. But I will come back before you soon with a check for $250 million. And to let you know that he is no longer allowed to do business in the state of New York. Yeah, we've got a special charge to show up and stand up for one another.
So that was Letitia James bragging that she was going to bring back a big check from Trump for hundreds of millions of dollars and ban him from ever doing business again in the state of New York. Well, she came up short. Yeah, just like zero. The New York Appeals Court just delivered a nuclear-level blow to Letitia James that will echo through American politics for decades. But ironically, that's not even the biggest story. The appellate court has just thrown out her entire $527 million fraud penalty against Trump. It is over. This ridiculous case that was nothing more than a political vendetta by New York Democrats has crashed and burned. Here's what just happened. A 5-judge panel of New York's appellate division unanimously declared Letitia James' massive penalty against Trump an excessive fine that violates the Eighth Amendment. Note that again, unanimously. Even New York judges, liberal judges, couldn't stomach James's lawfare abuse. But here's the beautiful irony in all of this. This very week of this ruling, federal investigators are building criminal cases against James for mortgage fraud, civil rights violations, and document falsification. The hunter is now officially the hunted. And now there are calls for her own resignation growing. Again, you cannot make this stuff up. While James was persecuting Trump for supposedly inflating property values, she, allegedly, was doing the exact same thing on a massive scale. Here's the evidence that looks like it's about to destroy her. In 2023, James bought a Norfolk, Virginia property and falsely declared it her primary residence. Falsely because she is required by New York law as their attorney general to live in the state of New York. However, as it turns out, by declaring this Virginia home to be her primary residence, well, what do you know? She ends up getting better mortgage rates. And then she's facing scrutiny over repeatedly lying over the last 20 years about her Brooklyn property that she owns. She has consistently misrepresented, again, allegedly, her 5-family Brooklyn property as having only 4 units for the last 2 decades, again, to qualify for better loans. 4 or less units is residential property, whereas 5 or more is commercial property. So this allowed her to get, conforming loans with better interest rates reserved for smaller properties. And then, as if things could not get more bizarre, in 1983, James and her father signed mortgage documents together claiming to be husband and wife to meet lending requirements. No, this wasn't Ilhan Omar. This was Letitia James and her father claiming to be husband and wife to secure better lending opportunities. So all of this suggests textbook mortgage fraud taking place repeatedly over years. But here's where it gets absolutely devastating. 3 separate federal investigations are now, as we speak, targeting Letitia James. And Trump's DOJ, ironically, is using her own tactics against her. Investigation number 1 involves FBI Director Kash Patel. He's confirmed that James' real estate dealings are under criminal investigation. The FBI rarely acknowledges active investigations publicly, but this is how confident they are that they've got her. Investigation number 2, we have 2 grand jury subpoenas that have been issued examining whether James violated Trump's civil rights in her fraud prosecution against him. So ironically, the Justice Department is using the same civil rights statutes typically reserved for prosecuting like cops and violating the civil rights of others and so on. And investigation number 3, Attorney General Pam Bondi appointed Special Prosecutor Ed Martin to lead the mortgage fraud investigation. In fact, Martin was reportedly photographed inspecting James's Brooklyn property just last week. But here's what this all really exposes. The entire Democrat lawfare operation was nothing more than projection. They were accusing Trump of the crimes that they were actually committing. And again, the irony here is that while corrupt prosecutors like Letitia James have been weaponizing the legal system against patriots, there's actually never been a better time for freedom-loving Americans to actually take control of their own financial future. In fact, if you've been wanting to get into crypto investing like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and the like, but you've always been turned off or intimidated by the volatility, well, meet your knight in shining armor. Block Trust IRA has a super AI system that Bitcoin Magazine has named the #1 crypto technology platform in the world among 1,500 global competitors. And what that super AI does is it works 24/7 to analyze global market data, and it predicts with uncanny accuracy the highs and the lows of crypto volatility. So Block Trust IRA will then sell at the highs and then buy again at the lows, which mitigates the volatility, all the while you stand to make incredible gains. That's why I'm a proud client of Block Trust IRA. I have my own account with them, and I absolutely love them. Their mission perfectly aligns with President Trump's Make America Great Again agenda, smashing down the barriers between loyal patriots and the financial freedom that you deserve, helping true Americans build impressive wealth in Trump's historic economic boom. So whether you're a teacher, a truck driver, small business owner, or retiree, this is your chance to get into the crypto market with AI mitigating your volatility risk. So what are you waiting for? Click on that link below right now or visit turleytalkscrypto.com and find out how they can help you join the Trump financial revolution that's finally giving forgotten Americans access to the greatest crypto wealth opportunity in history. And the best part, for a limited time, they're offering my viewers up to $2,500 in bonus crypto when you open up an account with them. Oh, it's amazing stuff. Again, I love these guys. I'm a client with them. They're wonderful. Don't wait on this. Crypto created 80,000 new millionaires last year. Why not you next? Visit turleytalkscrypto.com. That's turleytalkscrypto.com. Now, the beauty of this perfect storm of investigations surrounding Letitia James is that it reveals that prosecutors can now be criminally charged for bringing cases that violate constitutional rights. That's what's so key here. And it's frankly what we all voted for back in November. This isn't just about Letitia James. This is about revolutionizing prosecutorial accountability. So the Albany U.S. Attorney's Office just issued 2 separate subpoenas to James, one for the Trump case and another for her NRA lawsuit some months back where she unjustly targeted the NRA. And so they're investigating what appears to be this very clear, repeatable pattern of civil rights violations on Letitia James' part, not just isolated incidents. Remember, Letitia James ran for attorney general in New York on the platform that she would take down Donald Trump. I mean, let that hit you. You know, the chief law enforcement officer had her whole campaign predicated on her already having convicted him. Rather than trying to find a man behind a crime, she tried to invent a crime behind a man, which is the very definition of a banana republic, which is, of course, what Democrats have turned their blue states into. But now, these investigations, these subpoenas, they're all sending a very clear message. The era of one-sided lawfare is over. Corrupt prosecutors will now face the same aggressive tactics they used against Republicans, but this time they will actually be the ones brought to justice since they are the ones who are actually engaged in criminal activity. Ironically, the very illicit activity they're projecting onto President Trump. So right now as we speak, grand juries in Virginia and Maryland are currently weighing criminal indictments against Letitia James. So the Virginia grand jury is examining the Norfolk property fraud and residency violations, while the Maryland-New York grand jury is investigating the Brooklyn property misrepresentations and the civil rights violations. Again, big picture. This isn't just about prosecutorial misconduct. This is about whether prosecutors can be held criminally liable for bringing politically motivated cases that violate constitutional rights. The new precedent here that's being set is that prosecutors who abuse their power will face criminal prosecution using the very same aggressive tactics they weaponize against their political opponents. This isn't just James losing her case against Trump. That did happen, and it is delicious for sure. But this is more about the entire Democrat lawfare infrastructure imploding right before our very eyes. Jack Smith, too, is under investigation as we speak. Trump didn't just win his appeal. He completely dismantled the prosecutor who tried to destroy him. The woman who said nobody is above the law is about to discover she was right. The prosecutor who spent years trying to put Trump in prison may end up in prison herself, convicted of actual crimes using real evidence in constitutional prosecutions. Karma isn't just real. In this case, it's absolutely devastating. Have you locked in your seat from my America Awakened Masterclass yet? Because seats are filling up fast. This is your shot to grab our Freedom Week discount before the price goes up. This isn't scripted, it isn't safe, and it sure as heck isn't censored. It's real, it's raw, and it's unapologetically patriotic, just like the early days of Turley Talks that helped ignite a movement. But listen, this discount won't last. Click the link, claim your spot, and join the rising tide of Americans reclaiming faith, family, and freedom. Let's light the fire of liberty and awaken America together.